Hey, good morning. Just Patrick here, live from Complete Health. And I just wanted to talk about the reasons why I ended up giving up meat about, it's coming up four or 5 years. I can't, do you know what, it's just become a habit now that I can't even remember the last time I really ate meat and dairy. But funny enough, the main reason why I gave up was not necessarily immediately to do with any health reasons or for animals. It was actually to do more with the planet. Ironically, what a lot of people don't actually realize that meat takes around 600 times more energy to produce than vegetables or plant-based foods. So one of the main reasons why I actually gave up meat about, like I say, 4 or 5 years ago, was more to do with the planet's sustainability, reducing of carbon footprint, and trying to reduce the amount of overall world hunger. So the equivalent, if you take a kilogram of beef, you could produce 600 kilograms of rice, which if you immediately did that maths and said there was 600 times the volume of food on the planet, we would literally end world hunger today. And so as a result, what we've basically become is very greedy in our needs as humans. So by producing meat and dairy, we're actually significantly reducing the opportunities for other people to grow, learn, and develop. And so it just ethically, for a point of view from me, yes, it's unethical to kill other things. Yes, it's unethical to take food away from other people that potentially need it for the needs of me wanting to eat a hamburger. But actually, when I started looking into it in a little bit more detail, I realized that actually the meat industry was a little bit more corrupt than what I initially anticipated. So one of the main things that I see in the meat industry, especially if you're not eating free range or organic, so if you're going to eat meat, that's completely okay. As a vegan, and by the way, as a vegan, I will say this, that so long as you understand where your food is coming from, I have no quarrels or qualms with someone eating meat, assuming that they understand the changes that they're putting their body through. It's a little bit like an alcoholic, okay? It's fine if you want to drink shed loads of alcohol, so long as you understand what that's starting to do to your liver and the damage that's starting to do to your body. But with meat, they actually use 80% of the antibiotics on the planet are used in the meat industry. And the main reason for that is it makes animals grow faster. But funny enough, and especially in an environment like now, where we're all getting very scared about viruses and bacteria taking over the planet, yet we're feeding tons and tons of antibiotics to the cattle in the meat industry. And as a result, what we're actually doing is giving ourselves a low dose of antibiotics on a regular basis because it's still in their bloodstream. So when you eat the meat, you are absorbing a lot of those antibiotics. Now, the other thing is as well is meat or cattle, in a general rule of thumb, is fed grain. Now, grain is very pro-inflammatory. So what ends up happening is the meat becomes pro-inflammatory as well. And there's something in it called or it gets produced into arachidonic acid in our body. So the fats from meat turn into arachidonic acid, and this can be really pro-inflammatory. Now, if you haven't watched the documentary Game Changers, it's on Netflix, they'll show you those pro-inflammatory markers in the bloodstream during the documentary, and it's really, really incredible to see that despite the fact that they were still eating lean sources of protein that were very low in fat, there was still a lot of inflammatory markers that were inside of their bloodstreams. Whereas when you ate these same fats or the same quantity or even more fats from plant-based materials, it didn't actually have the same impact on people's blood inflammation markers. The main other thing that I found with a vegetarian or vegan diet is, look, if you're looking for a cost-effective way to eat and you're looking for a way of eating high volumes of micronutrients or getting decent levels of vitamins and minerals into your diet, the quality of food nowadays is drastically different. So in order to get your vitamins and minerals, you have to eat much larger quantities of food. Yet plant-based materials are much higher in those micronutrients, stuff like your vitamin A's, B's, C's, vitamin D's, your calcium, your irons, and generally as a rule of thumb, they're much more readily absorbed from fruits and vegetables, especially when they're ripened, and even when some of them you may need to cook to get the best from them. But generally as a rule of thumb, in comparison to meat, your micronutrients are much, much higher unless you're going to eat stuff like liver, which most people will avoid. Liver is really high in a lot of different vitamins because it's where you basically store everything. So just interesting, I just wanted to share why I obviously became vegetarian and some of the benefits that I've seen. Huge amounts of weight loss, huge amounts of energy. I constantly wake up every day feeling energetic, alive. It's been probably one of the best decisions that I've ever made. So if you ever want any advice on it, I do really ask that people kind of reach out and ask these questions, because like I say, I'm an open book and I love answering these questions. Till tomorrow, speak to you soon.